The Invictus Games 2025 opening ceremony drama. It was meant to be a moment of triumph, a grand celebration of resilience, honor, and unity at the opening ceremony of the 2025 Invictus Games. But instead, the night took a shocking turn when British Columbia's premier, David Eby, made a remark that left the entire stadium in stunned silence. Standing before a packed crowd, Eby turned to Prince Harry, the driving force behind the Invictus Games, and with a smirk asked the question that changed everything. "Where's your crown?" The moment that shook Prince Harry. For a brief second, time seemed to stop. Prince Harry's face darkened. His jaw tightened. His entire demeanor shifted from confident and engaging to visibly tense and furious. Years of media training failed him in that moment. His anger was raw, unfiltered, and impossible to ignore. Witnesses at the scene described it as a complete transformation, as if a wound had been ripped open in front of thousands of spectators. What was meant to be a light-hearted jab, at least that's how some saw it, landed like a dagger to the heart of a man who has spent years trying to define himself outside of the monarchy. The crown, a symbol of a never-ending struggle. This wasn't just a joke. This wasn't just a passing comment. The word crown represents everything Prince Harry has been running from, and everything he can't escape. His departure from the royal family, his strained relationship with his father and brother, and his public battle for independence all came rushing back in that single moment. Eby's remark was a stark reminder that, no matter what he does, no matter how much work he puts into projects like the Invictus Games, the world will always see him through the lens of royalty. And the fact that it happened at his most respected initiative, the Invictus Games, was particularly damaging. This was supposed to be the one place where he was seen as a leader, a champion for veterans, and not a prince in exile. Social media erupts. Was it a joke or a deliberate dig? As expected, the internet exploded. Within minutes, videos of Harry's reaction flooded social media, and the debate ignited. Some users laughed it off, calling it a harmless joke and pointing out that Harry should be able to take a bit of banter. Others were furious, arguing that Eby's comment was deeply inappropriate, undermining the spirit of the Invictus Games. One user tweeted, "Eby knew what he was doing. This wasn't just a joke, it was a calculated move to humiliate Harry in public." Another countered, "Oh come on. If Harry can't take a simple joke, maybe he's not as strong as he claims to be." Did David Eby do it on purpose? But here's the real question. Was this an accident, or was it intentional? Eby is no stranger to political maneuvering. Some speculate that his remark was a deliberate power play, a move to assert dominance over one of the most famous ex-royals in the world. Was he testing Harry's patience? Trying to provoke a reaction? Or was it just an offhand comment that landed terribly? One political analyst weighed in. If this was intentional, it was a bold and risky move. Eby has now placed himself at the center of a global conversation, one that might not work in his favor. The impact on Harry's credibility. And then there's the fallout for Harry himself. For years, he has fought to be seen as his own man, separate from his family, independent in his own right. But his reaction to this moment might have just undone some of that work. His loss of composure, his visible anger, and the deep emotional reaction all point to one thing: he's still deeply affected by his royal past. And that raises another question. If he's truly moved on from the monarchy, why did this comment cut so deep? What happens next? As the dust settles, the world waits to see how Harry will respond. Will he address it directly? Will he attempt to downplay it? Or will he let his silence do the talking? One thing is certain. The 2025 Invictus Games will now be remembered for far more than just the athletes. And for Prince Harry, the shadow of the crown still looms large.